General announcements. 1 week from tonight, this room will be hosting the North Texas District Convention. Now, the district conventions for us are a strange and wonderful thing. We will have as many as 18 counties represented here, and we will have candidates whose districts have been gerrymandered all back and forth across those counties. Some of them look like stars, swastikas, figure eights, you name it. The Texas legislature has done that, okay? Come on in. Hey, Jay. And what you wind up with is something like this, where you got 5 counties. Here's a district that gets all of them. If you are a resident of any of these 5, no matter where you fit inside of it, you get to vote for that candidate, even if you live out here. And the next Tarrant County Libertarian Party chair will have the enviable privilege of keeping all of that straight for 18 different candidates. So it's going to be a fun time next Saturday. You'll get to meet libertarians from all over North Texas. It's a good time. Gary Catholic, we got some paperwork for you up here. We'll take care of Gary. And Gary, please pull up a chair into the front 4 rows since you are a delegate, okay? But that is what that is about. A couple of other announcements. After the convention is over, we will invade Applebee's right across the interstate from here. We will be able to give you directions there. It's going to be a good time. They're not going to know what hit them. Guys, please don't make it an open carry event. I'm not I just, you know, these things are stressful, and you guys...
Be fair, you better warn the normal people, too.
Yeah. They're all here. And then, last but not least, in terms of general announcements, we have Rebecca Paddock with us. Rebecca, where'd you go?
I'm here.
She is filming this event for us. She is also U.S. Senate candidate running against John Cornyn. Okay? Yeah! She has spent the last 8 hours filming these conventions just to have a document of what goes on here, what we're about, that type of thing. So because of that, I have given her a spot on our agenda in between confirmation of candidates and additions, changes, and deletions. She's going to have about 3 minutes to tell us about her candidacy, what she's about, and why she would appreciate your support if you're chosen as a delegate to our state convention in Temple. Okay, I'll tell you what, Mr. Stanford, since you are our treasurer, you want to come up and do a roll call and be sure everybody's here. When they call your name, we want to be sure that you have a piece of paper that looks like this. That means you attended a precinct convention or are chosen by a precinct captain. We want to be sure that you are sitting in the front 4 rows if you were chosen as a delegate to this county convention. And sir, I think you're a delegate, so we appreciate it if you come up here. That allows the vote counting to go a whole lot faster, eliminates some confusion. And then, last but not least, if you guys want to spread your chairs out just a little more, might be a little comfortable, Sean, Daniel, Christy, just to give everybody a little more room there. Don't block the main aisle. That's probably some kind of bizarre fire code thing, but we're good. Okay, Mr. Stanford, will you call roll for us? And raise your card and say here so we can know here you are and that you are indeed present. So go ahead.
Alan Patterson.
Here.
Brian Smith.
Here.
Carla Spivey.
Here.
Christine Miller.
Here.
Cindy Stanford.
Here.
Craig Sanders. Dale Neeson.
Dale? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Daniel Wood.
Here.
David Emery.
Here.
Dwayne Hammond.
Here.
Gwen Anthony Helvis.
Here.
Ed Culliver.
Here.
Elizabeth Miller. Ethel Husband.
Here.
Felicia Watley.
Here.
Fran Patterson.
Here.
Gary Kappick.
Here.
Guilford Lord.
Yes.
Gregory Clymer.
Here.
Homer Lee Cox.
Here.
Iona Richardson.
Here.
James Spencer. Jeffrey Lippincott. Here. John Spivey.
Here.
Ken Stanford. Here. Larry Blankenship.
Here.
Leslie Harmon. Luis, I'm not going to say the last. Michael Coyne.
Here.
Michelle Southwick.
Present.
Michelle Lord.
Here.
Otilio Renee Perez.
Here.
Quinn Aker. Richard Walter.
Here.
Robert Bell.
Here.
Robert Harris.
Here.
Scotty Richardson.
Here.
Shayna Coyne.
Here.
Sean Husband.
Here.
Stephanie Davis.
Here.
Tracy Hooks.
Here.
Zachary Clark.
Here.
Okay, is there anyone we missed? Okay, next thing that we need to do is the selection of convention chair. This is not selection of county chair, but selection of the person who is going to ride herd on this event for the next however long it takes. My name is Alan Patterson. I'm the current Tarrant County Libertarian Party chair, and I would like to make a motion that I be selected as convention chair.
I second that. Certainly second that.
Okay. Is there any opposition to this motion? Apparently no one has lost their minds, so the motion passes. Next, we need to select a convention secretary. I would like to nominate our current county secretary, Mr. Jeff Lippincott.
Second.
Any opposition? There is none, so that motion passes. Jeff, would you like to come up here so you have a solid surface? Okay, the first official thing I would like to do after that is some things about the rules for debate during the convention. And what I would like to propose is that for any motion that has objection, we allow 3 people on each side to speak for 2 minutes each. Back and forth, pro and con, and 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, until we have covered 3 people on each side of the topic. I would like to put that forward as a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any opposition to that?
Who determines the 3 people?
Just who would like to speak in favor of the motion? Who would like to be next speaking opposed to the motion? As the hands are raised. And Jeff and I will do the best we can to keep up with whose hand shot up first. Okay, the next thing that we have is the selection of the 2014 county.
Did we adopt that motion?
I believe we did, without opposition. We had one question, but thank you, sir. The next thing is the selection of the 2014 Tarrant County LP Executive Committee. Mr. Stanford.
I'd like to make a motion. I move that we elect the following slate of candidates of the Tarrant County Libertarian Party Executive Committee: Alan Patterson for chair, Peter Cox for vice chair, Jeffrey Lippincott for treasurer, Michael Coyne for secretary. These individuals have done a great job of growing the party, reaching out to single issue groups, and administering the day-to-day business of the party. They have worked in the party for years at the county and state level, and I believe that they are the best qualified to move the party forward. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have a second for this motion?
I second.
Numerous seconds. Any opposition to this motion?
Mr. Chair, I have a question of privilege.
Yes, sir.
For clarity purposes, it has come to our attention that there was a secondary precinct convention held this week. And for the purposes of clarity and maintaining the integrity of the Texas election code, we'd like to get some details on where that was conducted and at what time and how it was posted and what day and where it was done.
Sure. I'll speak to the issue first. There was one held at the Spivey home. It was posted and photographed at the appropriate places downtown at the county on February 28th. John, I believe you have photographs of it being posted there. And can you address any other issues on that?
No, I mean, it was a very short and sweet precinct convention, and we actually, my wife is the precinct chair of 3323. And again, I've got pictures of our posting right next to the Tarrant County posting. and actually right next to the Democrat Party primary posting. So,
If you don't mind, why was this not made known to all the people that were here on Tuesday night?
not being there, I can't say.
It was just separate
Why was
precincts.
it not on our website? It wasn't on the Facebook page, wasn't on the meetup? It seems a little peculiar that we would conduct something like that when we post something on our Facebook page and our website indicating that it's specifically going to be here. In fact, a direct quote from you indicating that it was here only. And so to find that there was another one conducted in secrecy at another location seems quite odd.
Well, actually, I think the...
We're not going to be talking back and forth to each other. All questions go to the chair. All people are called on, so we can keep order here. As far as that goes, everything was done according to the Texas Election Code. Everything was posted properly. Mr. Spivey, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, yeah, we conform to TEC, so, you know, according to them, we operated in accordance to their requirements for public notice. So, I guess anybody who lived in precinct 3323 could have gone to that particular precinct, to that particular posting area at that time and had public notice.
But we have had instances of other counties having multiple stops for the same precinct, multiple locations for the same precinct. Anyone else who lived in that precinct could have come to this one. It was well announced. Mr. Aker, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. How are you?
Gary?
Is there anyone that lives in that precinct that objects to that meeting?
Okay. I will rephrase the question. Do we have anyone from that particular precinct who objects to that particular precinct convention? I see none.
For clarity, that's precinct 3323.
Okay. And we have none. Anything else, Mr. Hudson?
Well, I don't understand the logic in keeping it secret. How many people here on Tuesday night would be interested if you could find out knew about this? And I don't understand the element of secrecy. It reeks of, it seems quite underhanded.
I have. Okay, moving forward, we have a motion on the floor from Ken Stanford that a slate of Alan Patterson for chair, Peter Cox for vice chair, Jeff Lippincott for treasurer, and Mike Coyne for secretary be put in place as the 2014 Tarrant County Libertarian Party Executive Committee. I believe we had seconds. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the motion? Clint?
I would like to say that I am relatively new to this whole process, but so far I've had many interactions with Alan and some of the other people just mentioned, and every interaction that I've had makes me feel very confident, makes me feel very welcome, makes me feel in good hands, makes me feel like it's very worth the vote.
Thank you, sir. I would like to interject, if you saw this morning's Star Telegram, Quinn Aker and the raid on the Garden of Eden sustainable farming community was on the front page.
Yes.
Yes. Good job, sir.
Forward Weekly last week.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this slate? If there is no one else, then the motion passes without opposition. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be part of this, and I'm sure that applies to Peter, Jeff, and Mike also.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. The next thing on our list is the selection of the 2014 Tarrant County delegates to the state convention, which will be held in April. Yes, sir?
I'd like to nominate the following people for the delegates to the
Okay,
state convention.
I'll get you next. This is the state convention in Temple, Texas, April 11th, 12th, and 13th. Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
All right. Getting ahead of myself. All right. I'd like to nominate the following people. Robert Bell, he's a candidate for Texas governor from Tarrant County here. I think he'd represent us well. Zach Clark, he's pivotal in the open carry movement right now with the something that we've been involved with. Ed Colliver, he's been very active with us in the last year here. He's also running for the candidate for U.S. House, District 12. Peter Cox, he's been on our executive committee, also serves on the state executive committee. He's a longtime libertarian activist. Michael Coyne, he's, I think, been on the state committee for 6 years, also served on the county executive committee. Luis, pronounce it again for me. Good enough, Fabricio. All right. He's been very active the last probably year and a half. He's also started kind of a separate Facebook page for us to kind of get out some advertising about our events. Sean Husband, he's been active. He's come to some of our executive committees and also been good with the Fort Worth gun shows, talking about Libertarian Party there. I'd like to nominate myself. I've been the secretary for the last 2.5 years, and I also have spoken at the DFW Normal events. Elizabeth Miller, she's a longtime libertarian activist as well. She was the chair of the 2012 Gary Johnson campaign for the state of Texas. She's also involved with the Our America, which is involving Gary Johnson. Alan Patterson, he's been our chair for the last 2.5 years or so. And he's also been a member of the state executive committee. Otilio Rene Perez, he's very active with our group and also been a former delegate to the national convention. Teresa Rushing, she's been a member at large for our executive committee, and she was an instrumental member for the Fort Worth Gay Pride Parade float, which we won best nonprofit?
Best nonprofit out of
Yes.
80 entries.
Yeah. John Spivey, he was a former county chair and has sat as a former chair on our executive committee since then. He has also worked with the Political Action Committee recruiter and fundraising, and basically responsible for all of us being here right now because there wasn't a party before he got involved. Ken Stanford, he's has been our current treasurer for the last few years. He also received 78,000 votes as a libertarian running for the Tarrant County Tax Assessor in 2012. Felicia Watley, she's a libertarian candidate right now for the Texas House of Representatives, District 91. And then also Robin Watley, who has been involved with Felicia's campaign, helping her out, been active since then. Those are mine.
I would like to make one correction to that proposal. I've always assumed that Robin's last name was Watley. It's not. Instead, it is
Bearden.
Bearden. Not bad, sir. I've known you a long time, and I just assumed it was Watley. Okay, do we have anyone to second this motion? Second. Numerous seconds. Do we have anyone to speak in favor of this motion? In favor? Sean?
And I have some additional delegates I'd like to nominate.
Okay, we can do this as a counter nomination if you would like, but first we need to do a straight up or straight down on this one, because that is the motion on the floor. Okay? Okay, Mr. Glass, is it?
Point of order, Chair.
Yes, sir.
David Emery here. That's not necessarily true. You can amend the motion.
Okay, you can amend the motion. You're correct. Okay, go ahead, Sean.
Okay, I'd like to add to that list Ethel Husband, Richard Walter, Greg Clymer, Daniel Wood, Michelle, Robert Harris.
Michelle, who?
Southwick.
Okay.
There's two of us.
Robert Harris. Larry Blankenship. Dwayne Ellis. Tracy Hooks. Brian Smith. And Stephanie Davis.
Who was the second person? You said his first name was Richard?
Walter.
Walter.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
point of information. The amendment says that he would like to add these people. If this is a slate voted up or down, then that would take us over our 16. So I'm not sure how that would work as an addition.
Yeah, Sean, I'll have to ask for some clarification. Are you setting this out as an additional slate to be voted as opposed to the other slate, because you only have 11 names on here?
This is this is a motion to add these folks to the delegate choice, to the list of delegates. And
One point of information. What I think the chair is trying to say is they have a slate, I think, of 16 delegates with 16 spots, correct?
Correct.
You can't add to that slate without striking people from that slate. That's the motion.
Okay.
So if you were trying to amend it, your amendment would have to be add these names and strike these names in order to balance the 16. If you want to offer a different slate, then that motion is out of order at this time.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
okay, then I guess can we have that first group of names repeated so that we can everybody knows exactly who? I doubt anybody in here remembers who was called out in that first group.
Okay. Okay. So we have.
Point of personal privilege. I'm not a member of this.
I'm sorry, Kathy. You're not a delegate. But.
No personal privilege.
Okay. Here's our situation. We have a motion that was made to adopt a slate of 16 delegates to go to the state convention in Temple, Texas. Mr. Husband has asked, and this is the secondary motion on the floor right now, that instead of adopting that straight out, that we add these, look at these additional 11 names instead.
Was the first seconded? Was the first 16?
Yeah, the first was seconded, and when it came up in debate, he put this out as a secondary motion. Yes, Sean?
It's to my understanding that the proper procedure is to nominate specific delegates, not a slate of delegates.
No, sir. If you had gone to the Libertarian, what was it called, the Libertarian Leadership Conferences, they went over it in the procedure with us that it is quite common, if not the norm, to elect a slate in some situation in the interest of saving time. So many slates are being voted up or down.
Has the amendment to the original proposal been seconded?
Yeah,
He has not provided a proper amendment.
amendment. He just said addition. We don't have a proper amendment yet. Okay.
I guess it's out of order.
Sean, is there any way you would like to rephrase your motion?
Okay, then I motion to add a different, another slate.
Okay. Would you like to present us with this slate, sir?
Okay.
Point of order.
Yes,
Should
sir.
this be part of the debate then for this motion?
We're just trying to get the motion done first, and then we'll get the debate going back and forth on it. We're trying to get a secondary motion.
The motion that's before this body, the adoption of your slate of candidates.
But he did come forth with a secondary motion in favor of adding people, which is not possible. That can be replaced. So I'm giving Mr. Husband here, who's been a long-time Libertarian with us, a chance to get this motion in order.
Right. So my motion is to add an additional slate, propose an additional slate,
Okay.
an alternate slate.
Okay. Does that motion have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this motion? It's on the floor.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, Richard Wolf. Okay. I was going to say, I think it's great. There's been a lot of good stuff that's been done through this party, through the people who are on that slate. But I think it would be a benefit to all of us here to be able to select our own people, the own people that we think is best for to represent us down in Temple, rather than a slate of either a slate of people or not. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Anyone like to speak against this motion?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Richard. I would love to have a slate that represents us, and I know for a fact that the slate that I've put together does. I have never met you ever, and I'm on the executive committee, so I don't think that you would represent me. And a lot of these people I have not met and haven't been active. Don't donate as far as I know. Don't donate their time. Haven't been active at any of our events. So.
Okay. Would anyone like, we're going to alternate, would anyone like to speak who is a delegate in favor of this motion?
Well, I would just like to make a point on his point, if possible. I understand that history is great. However, like you said, you don't know what we've done. So how do you know that you're not striking out someone with great libertarian values and advocacy in their heart, rather than just filling your slate with who you've chosen? Why don't you give the delegates an opportunity to speak as why they would be good to represent you if you don't know it? Because I'd be happy to give you my history happily. And I think anybody else who'd like to be part of this would absolutely be happy to explain their history and their addition to the Libertarian Party, especially in Tarrant County.
Okay. Would anyone like to speak against this motion? Mr. Spivey?
Yeah, again, and certainly not wanting to demean anybody's spirit of wanting to participate, and that's certainly commendable. However, again, the delegates are supposed to be representative of the county and our county's, the county of Tarrant County's Libertarian Party, and what we've done in the past as members of this group. And quite honestly, there were only maybe a couple of 2 or 3 people that I've even heard of before in the alternate slate. The rest of the people I've never seen, and it's true, could be awesome, could be, but could be the worst delegates ever that we don't know the history there. So, I think that the libertarian credentials of those that were on the original slate, I think are hard to debate. So.
Okay, we got room for Sean. I believe you've already spoken in favor of the motion. Anybody else like to speak?
I have not spoken.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. The libertarian credentials of the individuals that are delegates here is the end of the story on what qualifies an individual for a delegate. We're not in a contest of libertarianism, okay? The folks in here are precinct chairs and they're delegates at the convention, and they're equal in terms of everybody else that's in this room. So to intimidate or attempt to belittle or ostracize or alienate those folks is highly unacceptable, and again, it reeks of poor integrity. In reality, the more appropriate thing here is to, I would motion to do away with this slate and motion that we vote for individual delegates.
Okay, we have time for one more person to speak against the motion. Anybody else?
Point of information.
Yes, sir.
What is the motion then? Is it to replace that slate with this slate?
No, to have an individual vote as opposed to a slate. He might have done it.
No, actually, I don't think that counts as a
That doesn't count as a
motion.
motion. I mean, the original motion was a substitution of the slate.
Yeah.
That was just part of his,
So is that the motion that's on?
Yes, that is the Sean Husband's motion is what's on the floor right now.
To replace the slate that was talked by the secretary of that slate.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Gene.
Well, since becoming part of the Libertarian Party, I have noticed lots of people that actually, we've had several meetings that people have shown up at, and as far as my statement, and I state things to the point. I don't beat around the bush. I never have. We've got a group that showed up tonight that's presenting a whole different slate that none of us really know about. So where did this group come from, and why did they want this opposite slate? It's plain, pure, and simple question.
Okay. Okay, that is the last speaker there. We had the motion on the floor is to go with the Sean Husband proposal that we elect individual members as opposed to... Okay. To replace. It is a substitution motion. With the 11 there, okay? Did I state that properly to your satisfaction,
Yes,
Mr. Husband?
mine is a substitute.
Okay,
To
substitute motion.
amend the slate.
Okay, okay. All who are in... Daniel?
I've got an amendment. I would like to table both of these motions and start over with... I've got time on my hands. I would love to hear what each delegate has to say because, I mean, 2 years ago, I was a Republican delegate to state, and I came out of nowhere. I took absolutely no part in politics, and I've evolved the whole time. But I mean, I went all the way to state, from being absolutely nobody and not politically active at all to I'm got my foot to the floor and moving forward in it. I'll sit here until 5 o'clock in the morning to listen to everybody who's got an argument, and I would much rather see this on an individual, person by person basis. I didn't like slates whenever I was running in the Republican Party. I'm not a big fan of slates now. So I'm willing to. My motion is to table both of these and listen to each individual argument.
Okay. So you can only have 2 additional amendments. We have an omission to substitute, and now we have one to table. For those of you who are relatively new to parliamentary procedure, to table a motion means to set both aside. I believe that's how you're stating this, correct?
Yes, sir.
To set both aside, ignore the substitute motion and the motion of a slate. Did I state that to your satisfaction?
Yes, sir.
All in favor of...
Point of order. The motion to table requires a second.
I second that motion.
Okay. Okay. And all in favor of tabling both motions, raise your delegate sheet. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, as I counted. All and opposed to tabling this motion. Raise your sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So the motion to table fails. That gets us to Mr. Husband's motion of the substitution. All in favor of the substitute motion? Yes, sir?
We can withdraw that.
We're going to withdraw that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. All in favor of the slate that has been nominated by Jeff Lippincott for delegates to the Temple, Texas State Convention, please raise your sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All opposed by the same sign. I was going to use this as a timer, that's why I haven't turned it off. Okay, opposed we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so the motion of the slate of delegates passes. Thank you very much. Next issue is the selection of 2014 Tarrant County delegates to, the Tarrant County candidates for countywide offices. Let me pull this up here. First, we have Michelle Bonatti, who is going to be running as county clerk. And as most of you know, we have a long tradition in the Libertarian Party of being able to vote for NOTA. I'm going to ask that you vote for NOTA in this case because Michelle is moving to Indiana, which would make it difficult for her to serve. Okay? And we have a real problem here because if we don't properly NOTA, meaning none of the above, Michelle, there's a $500 fine involved. So, with that being said, all in favor of Michelle Bonatti for county clerk? All in favor of NOTA, please raise your card. And the motion obviously passes. Thank you all very much, as does Ms. Patterson, because I would have been obligated to pay it. We now have, next on the list, a motion that we send John Clare downtown to be Tarrant County District Clerk. Would anyone here like to speak in favor of John Clare for County Clerk? Mr. Spivey.
I would. I recently got to meet John Clare, and unfortunately, I don't think he's here. Sometimes, whenever people don't show up, we get on the NOTA bandwagon just for not showing up. However, I can tell you that I think that he would be a great addition for us on the ballot. He's already taking a look at ways that they're kind of, using very antiquated methods in the district clerk's office, and looking to streamline things and basically reduce the size of that particular office that currently staffs hundreds of people, that could be trimmed down dramatically. And he's a great, small government guy, so I really like John Clare. And by the way, he's relatively new, but he's come to a lot of things, so you've probably seen him. He's about 6'7", it seems like. He's a really tall guy.
He can take over a room. I would also like to speak in favor of John Clare for this spot.
Point of order, isn't there supposed to ask for anybody in opposition?
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Dan.
I've got nothing to say.
Yeah. Do we have anyone opposing his nomination? We're excited about John Clare and want to get all the good stuff out there, but thank you. Okay. Anybody opposed to the nomination of John Clare? Now that I have that very legit technicality out of the way, I'd like to say I'm a huge fan of the guy. Friend him on Facebook. He has a spouse that he calls the Gnome, N-O-M-E. And sometimes you think, guys, just rent a room. Just, goodbye, stop. But they're both great people, and we would be really, really lucky in Tarrant County to have them on board. So, all in favor of John Clare for Tarrant County District Clerk? All in favor of NOTA? And there are none. Thank you very much. Next, we have Felicia Whatley, who is running for Texas House District 91. Ms. Whatley, since you are here, would you like to address your candidates for us?
Well, I would just like to say that I would appreciate the opportunity to go to Temple and help the party out a lot. I've been a firm believer in the Libertarian Party and ethics and philosophy since 1981, and strongly believe that it's time that we do something to fix what's going on in this country, and starting here locally is the best way to do it, and local is where I want to be and stay. And I appreciate your support.
Felicia came to one of our candidate recruitment events. She is libertarian through and through. Once again, we would be very fortunate to have her representing us 6 months out of every 2 years down in Austin. Great people. Do we have anyone to speak in opposition to Felicia's candidacy? I see none, but just to go through the procedure. All in favor of Felicia Whatley, House of Representatives? Anybody for NOTA? And there are none. Next, we have Mr. Robert Harris, Texas House 94. Jeff Lippincott and I tried to recruit this guy about a year ago at a Starbucks, and he was trying to recruit us into supporting the Republicans, as it turned out. and then 3 or 4 months later, he's at a gathering of some group, and he realized that 60% of them favored a third party. Well, Robert goes, hell, I know a third party. And next thing you know, he's meeting me and Mr. Spivey over here at yet another Starbucks. We can't recruit anybody without caffeine. At yet another Starbucks to run for Texas House 94. He has spoken to multiple groups that I'm aware of across a broad spectrum of single issue groups. And Mr. Harris, would you like to address your candidates for us?
Yeah. I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget. I got contacted by a person this week. Nothing says more about an individual than the people that don't like you. All right? Right? I'm going to give you a quote from a very famous quote here. It says, "You have enemies. Good. That means you've stood up for something in your life." That's exactly what that means. When you stand up, there's always going to be somebody that opposes you. I was contacted this week, and I was told that I was a divisionist, a rebel rouser. I was told that I was siphoning votes from the Democratic and Independent voter bases in my district, and that I was going to cause Democratic Party candidates. That was their accusation. Yeah. My crimes: teaching the Constitution to people, supporting free market capitalism, and supporting civil liberties and civil rights. I plead guilty.
We've got to work on just making him a little more outgoing. Okay, is there anyone to speak in opposition to the candidacy of Robert Harris? Good, because he would wrestle you to the ground. All in favor of Robert Harris? E? Is there anyone for Noda? And I see none. It passes. Okay. I got to tell a little story on this next one. About a year ago, 9 months ago, I was at a DFW Normal rally that they call Lake and Bake. Okay, so I was invited to introduce one of our candidates, which I did, and another speaker there was a very charismatic individual named Quinn Aker. And Quinn got up and told the story of his organic farm being raided at I don't know when in the morning by about 25 Arlington SWAT team members who came in full black SWAT gear, black helmets. The only skin you could see is where they cut away the thread from their trigger fingers. They took mothers away from nursing babies for 10 hours. It was essentially a drug raid. The acre farm called Garden of Eden, they are living their lives the way they choose to live them. It's not the way I choose to live my life. It's not the way many of you choose to live yours. But it's their business, their property. They were bothering no one. Now, the SWAT team came away with about 14 okra plants, some strawberries, some squash, some organically grown stuff. They mowed the fields, just as an act of spite. If you read the article in the Star-Telegram, that will get you interested. You will find stories about Quinn Aker on the Huffington Post, Bradley Balco's agitator blog, all over the place. So Spivey and I, we're recruiting somebody in a Starbucks, of course. 6 months later, in comes Quinn Aker to get their coffee grounds to spread on his crops. And I go, my gosh, we're recruiting this homeschooler type for Board of Education. There's Quinn Aker. Do I dare bring them together? I did. They hit it off just like this. Totally unique philosophies. It was one of my finest moments in the Libertarian Party. Because, I mean, once you get it, you get it. Leave people alone to live their lives as they please and don't steal their stuff. That's our philosophy in a nutshell right there. So after that meeting, I had to go home for something because they would have talked for hours. I called Spivey up and I said, what if we run Quinn Aker for Texas House 96? He's been written up 400 times, 400 periodicals. He's been on the Adam Kokesh, Adam versus the Man show. He's been on the Ron Paul radio network. He has spoken to just about everybody who's worth speaking to. He was in the Star-Telegram first thing this morning. Mr. Quinn Aker.
Greetings. It's awesome to be here. Ultimately, basically everybody, except for a couple, just real nasty, vile creatures, agrees that this raid was pretty atrocious. It was a violation of everything that I stand for, everything that our country was built upon, everything that has made us as successful as we are. And it happened, and it's actually a growing trend. Unfortunately, I'm not a rare occurrence of something like this happening. All across the country, not just in Texas, all across the country, there's a growing police militarized state. That's a fact. In fact, you're 8 times more likely to die by a SWAT raid than a terrorist attack. Right? So your own government, your own public servants who are supposed to be protecting you are actually 8 times more likely to kill you. That's a fact. And that's a pretty devastating fact. So I've been living for a long time I haven't bought food at a grocery store in 12 years. I haven't paid taxes. In 12 years. Yeah. I know how to build houses that cost dramatically less than what a standard cardboard box would cost, that require no utilities, no bills in order to maintain them, that last for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Superior in every single way. I know how to develop sustainable food production systems that allow people to not only have the healthiest food, but the most sustainable food at basically no cost. So maybe not necessarily everybody wants to live that life, but a big part of the reason why is because people actually don't really know what it's like. So my goal is to tell people things that they've never really seen and show people examples that you really don't see. I'm not a very normal person. I'm not someone you really find or see very often. And I personally respect everybody, including the people that raided my land with machine guns and took nursing children from their mothers. I have no judgment on them whatsoever, but I asked them after I asked them their name and their badge number, which they refused to give me, by the way. I asked them, why are you doing this? And they said, it's my job. That's their response. And I asked them, do you feel that this is honorable? And their response was, that's not for us to decide. We do what we're told, we do what our job is, we follow the law. And this is a very unfortunate thing because these public servants are sworn oath of office. They actually swore to serve us. And so the whole country has completely changed, right? Everything we built it upon is gone. So I know the truth. I know what freedom is. I know what sustainability is. I know what honor is. Whether we live a life that everyone wants or not, we have the right to do that as well as all of you do, as long as we're not harming somebody else. And so that's what we really need to do. I'm very capable of communicating, of sharing, of talking. I would love to be able to do this for much longer. Obviously, I've already gone longer than everybody else. This is just just a little smidget of what I have to say. But what I have to do say is that this means a lot to me. This is my life. I live and I breathe honor. I live and I breathe freedom. I built my entire life upon it. Every single thing I do. I came here in my private conveyance without a driver's license, without a license plate, without insurance, without registration, without inspection. And I put my life on the line literally every day in order to stand for the truth without compromise. So I guarantee you that every word that I speak and every action that I take, if you care about freedom, if you care about responsibility, if you care about honor, if you care about those things, I've never met anybody that could represent that better than myself. Also, I love to work together for common purpose, and that's ultimately what we have to do here. This is way bigger than me. Way bigger than me. It's way bigger than any individual here. We have to come together for common purpose. We have to support each other. We have to work together. This is what we really have to do. And that's what I'm really actually excited about, is working with every single one of you as individuals for a common purpose. Whether we're all elected or not, whether we all win or not, we can still support each other. We can still help each other. We can post each other's stuff on Facebook. We can share each other's videos. We can network with each other's friends. We can come to each other's events. We can support and help each other every day. So that's what I'm here to do. Thank you.
I also like to stand beside Quinn and ask people, which one of us used to have a modeling career? Good job, sir. You're awesome everywhere you go. It doesn't matter what the crowd is. I cannot wait to go into Arlington, Texas meetup groups with Robert Harris and Quinn Aker, who love each other like brothers already. Mr. Military Flight Jacket, Mr. Free Range, live off the land guy, and people are going to think these people are on to something. We're on to something. We can build coalitions like this. I'm so proud to have all these guys on board here. Everyone who is in favor of the nomination of Quinn Aker to serve in the Texas House of Representatives, District 96, please raise your card. Is there anyone who would vote no? And we have none. Next, we have Mr. Rod Wingo, who is a stalwart with the Libertarian Party. Year after year after year, he puts himself out there for us. He's a libertarian through and through. Mr. Wingo is running for Texas House District 97. Would you like to address the group, sir?
Well, that's a hard act to follow. But I'm libertarian with the big L, so I would enjoy your support.
Thank you, sir. All in favor of Mr. Wingo's candidacy, raise your cards. Is there anyone in favor of NODA? And there are none. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. We'll give you all the help we can. Next, we have a gentleman named Carl Nolson, who is running for Texas House District 101. Carl has been a longtime candidate for us. He runs, we have different levels of it. We have paper campaigns, which you just agree to fill out all the paperwork, you fill out all the surveys, you get the libertarian message out from your laptop and your mailbox. We have educational campaigns, which so many of our candidates run. You go out and speak to groups, that type of thing, and then you have full-blown, all-out, Robert Harris, I'm going to win this thing type events. Carl runs somewhere in between paper and educational candidacies for us. I believe this will be his third or fourth.
I think it's his fourth.
If this is his fourth cycle, he is not particularly active in the party, except he runs one heck of a campaign for us. He gets out there, he gets it done. This will be his 8th year to do this. Is there anyone here who knows Carl that would like to speak to his candidacy?
I'm speaking a lot on behalf of people because I'm excited about our candidates. But yeah, I've had some interactions with Carl. Again, he does a really good job of communicating libertarian ideals. He kind of looks like a politician, you know. But he does a really good job. He's a complete free market capitalist kind of guy, you know, a big L libertarian. And I really respect him a lot, and you know, I easily support Mr. Nolson.
Okay. All who are in favor of Mr. Nolson's candidacy, show your cards, please. Okay. Is there anyone for NODA? And there is none. Okay. Now we're moving into the Texas Senate. Have any of you heard of Wendy Davis? Any of you heard of Libby Willis? Okay, Libby Willis is running for the Wendy Davis seat. And who's the Republican? Can somebody help me out? Connie Burton.
Or Mark Shelton.
Yeah, it can go either way. I haven't followed those that closely. Well, we're going to have us a wild card in the mix, and that would be Mr. Gene Lord, who is representing us in Texas Senate 10. And just for the record, most Texas Senate districts take up some sort of unholy combination of counties like this. So that's why we have so few of those in U.S. Congress seats. But Texas Senate District 10 is self-contained within Tarramt. So, Mr. Lord, would you like to speak to your candidacy, sir?
I was born and raised right here in Texas. I've sat and watched the government, the federal government, come into Texas and just run roughshod. And I want to be your voice in Austin. I want to be the voice of common sense, which is gone most of the time in Texas. I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lord. Okay, all who would like to see Gene Lord go into this race, guns a-blazing, raise your cards. Anyone in favor of NODA? And there is none. Next on our agenda. Yes, thank you, Jeff. We said earlier that we have a U.S. Senate candidate in the House, Rebecca Paddock. If you're a little late to the show, she is here filming some things for the state party. She is running for U.S. Senate against John Cornyn, and I forget who all else at our level, but I've told her she can have 2 or 3 minutes to address her candidacy. Rebecca?
So hi, everyone. Wow, I love it. Great group. A bunch of you here. That's awesome. So I was not born in Texas. I was born in New Jersey. But I got here fast. I got here really fast. And I have been here for a while. I've been here since 1987. I got my master's degree at North Texas State in Denton. No, it was North Texas State.
Yeah.
I was the last class that graduated with North Texas State on my degree. But it is the University of North Texas now. I have spent 26 years in the defense industry as an electrical engineer. So it's a great career. It was very interesting when I got into it. Women were not involved in the defense industry much, let alone in engineering. So hit me up over drinks, and we'll have a glass of wine, and we can chat about some of the hijinks that happen. I am a constitutional libertarian, so pretty much I can answer any question that you've got about my platform with, is it in Article 1, Section 8? If it's not in Article 1, Section 8, the federal government doesn't need to be involved. Okay? That's good. The next major question I get is, what do you think about executive orders? And my response to that was, have you read Article 1, Section 1? All legislation goes through Congress. Pretty much that. There are two other questions that I typically get is, what is your thought on the Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment? And my responses are as follows. Shall not be infringed. What part of that is confusing? And, sir, shall not be violated. What part of that is confusing? The last big concern that I have is related to our military. According to the Veterans Administration, there are 22 vets a day that are committing suicide and 1 active duty serviceman. This is unacceptable. There are 3 reasons that the Walter Reed Center believes could be the root cause of this. We need to investigate that. One of them is traumatic brain injury. One of them is PTSD. But the big concern is mefloquine, which is an anti-malaria drug that is being given to our service members and is potentially this generation's Agent Orange for what it's doing to our service members. So that needs to be sorted out. If you have any questions for me later on, feel free to come over and do Grill the Candidate. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to sit down.
Rebecca also has what we call push cards up here at the front table. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, has all of her website, Facebook, and Twitter feed stuff here. When I was talking to Adam Kokesh at the John J. Myers Free Man event, he said, yeah, sometimes I wonder if the liberty movement exists anywhere except on the internet, which is, this is vital stuff right here. Okay, now we get to the really, really fun part, the exciting part, the thrilling part. Additions, changes, and deletions for the county bylaws. Mr. Lippincott, would you like to make any proposals, sir?
Yeah. I would like to propose that, or I guess my motion is that I would like to make these bylaws that have been supplied here our current bylaws. I don't have every edition, but that's my motion.
You've had them available there.
Yes.
Have most of you got the copy of the bylaws? The biggest change that I'm aware of is that we recently made a proposal at a Tarrant County Libertarian Executive Committee meeting that if anything happens to the county chair, the vice chair steps forward instantly into that position. The other one is the county chair and the secretary are both authorized to spend up to $100, not each, but up to $100. We have budgets in the low 4 figures, I'm sorry. But we're both authorized to spend $100 in case of emergency or things like that, with an email to be sent out within 48 hours to the rest of the executive committee. Those are the big 2 right there. Okay, was there anything else, Jeff?
I think those are the big changes.
Okay. Do we have, he's made a motion, do we have a second? Okay. Any opposition to these 2 motions, to this motion? I see none, so that passes. I'm not aware of any other business. I make a motion that we adjourn to Applebee's.
Second.
Oh. Okay. I make a motion that we adjourn to Applebee's. Do I have a second?
Second.
Stick around, meet the candidates. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. The motion passes. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, when you see that, I didn't feel like I would love to.